Hey everyone, welcome. My name is PJ and with me today is Todd Withers, our eSignify lead architect. Today I've asked Todd to show us how to use eSignify to send an MSA to DocuSign for signature from ServiceNow. Before we get started, we are using the Microsoft Teams live event platform. It is new to us, so we apologize in advance if there are any glitches. Hopefully there won't be. We are recording today, and if you have any questions, please submit those through the Q&A function, and we'll cover them at the end. You want to take it away, Todd?
Sure, thanks, PJ. So we're going to be doing a demonstration of how to send a master services agreement out of ServiceNow, and we're going to be using a tool called eSignify, our tool called eSignify. So what is eSignify? Well, very simply, it integrates ServiceNow with DocuSign and allows you to send documents out of ServiceNow through DocuSign for signature, and then pulls those signed documents back into ServiceNow at the end of the process. It is a ServiceNow store app. It's certified by both companies and currently available for Madrid, New York, and Orlando. One of the most important concepts in eSignify is an eSignify map, and we're going to be using that extensively during the demo. So an eSignify map really controls the flow of data between ServiceNow and DocuSign. So in ServiceNow, we have tables and catalog items, and in DocuSign, we have templates. The eSignify map really controls that data flow by taking attachments, people references, and other data fields out of ServiceNow, pushes those into DocuSign as documents and signers and data fields. And when the signing process is complete, it pulls back the signed documents, the certificate of completion, and data field updates, and pushes those back into ServiceNow. So that eSignify map is the thing that controls all that data flow from ServiceNow to DocuSign and back again. And you'll see how that works as we go through the demonstration. Okay, time for the demo. So I'm going to switch over to ServiceNow. This is a ServiceNow company record. It probably looks relatively familiar. This is a company record for LongNet Consulting. This is a consulting company that we want to work with. But before we do, we need a master services agreement in place. And the good news here is that I have one attached to the record right now. The only problem is, if we take a look at it and scroll down to the bottom here, you'll see that it's not signed yet. So I need to get this signed. Now, without eSignify, I would go, download this to my desktop maybe and switch over to DocuSign and upload it and put the signatures on and go through that process. I'm going to show you how, by using eSignify and an eSignify map, we can make that job a lot easier for your end users. Okay, so I can't do this directly right now, and so I'm going to switch over to be an administrator, an eSignify administrator, and this is the eSignify administrator tool. This is the eSignify portal. It installs when you install eSignify into your ServiceNow instance, and it's the place where administrators go to do a number of things, including create maps, and that's what we're going to focus on today. So I'm going to go over to the Maps tab here, and I'm going to create a new map based on a table. Now, in my case, the table that I want to connect to is the company table. And so I'm going to click right on here and create a new map. And up comes my map. I'm going to give it a name and call it MSA. And I'm going to choose a DocuSign template. I have a simple MSA template. And I'm just going to do a couple of mouse clicks that I'm going to talk about later, and hit save. So administratively, that's how I set up a map. And I've just done something that's actually really powerful right away. So let me switch back and be an end user again and show you what happened. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this screen. And you'll see that now I have a button here that says Send with DocuSign. And when I click that button, it's going to take us to the eSignify envelope preparation screen. So this is a screen that allows you to interact with ServiceNow data and prepare the envelope that's going to go out through DocuSign. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this draft MSA in, because I want to send that for signature. I want to send it to my department head, which is Todd Withers, that's me. And I want to send it to my vendor contact, which is Janice Farrow. Great. I'm going to make a little bit of a modification to this subject. This is the email subject that DocuSign will use for the email notifications. So I'm just going to add in the vendor's name right there. And when I'm all ready, I can click on Create Envelope. And when I do, that's going to create the envelope in DocuSign. And it's actually going to redirect me to the DocuSign embedded sending experience. You don't have to show your users this, but it's a cool capability. And I included it in the demo just so that you can have experience what it's like to use embedded sending right inside your ServiceNow frame. So basically what comes up is the actual file that was uploaded from ServiceNow. This has all my specific, very customized terms for this particular master services agreement. It's placed the signature block at the bottom. I do need to fill this in with the vendor's name, Long Neck Consulting, like so. Okay, that's great. Maybe I would want to have Janice put her initial here on this term. And once I'm ready and I like the envelope and it's good to go, I can go ahead and click send. And that's going to just take me, it's going to send out the envelope and take me right back into the ServiceNow environment and give me a message saying that my envelope was sent successfully. Okay, so that's just that easy. You can see how much easier that is for your end users to now send out an envelope. But we're going to show during the course of this how we can make it even easier on them. But before I do that, let me go through the full process here, which is to say, let me go in as the users and sign this document. Now, this one went out to Todd Withers as department head and Janice Farrow, but maybe you don't remember that. And if you don't, there's this cool link here at the bottom, DocuSign envelope status, that I can click on that shows me the envelopes that are pending out there from this record, and you can see my envelope that's gone out to Long Neck Consulting for signature, and it's sent to both people, and you can see some other envelopes that have gone out prior. So this is really cool capability here to keep track of the envelopes that you sent out through DocuSign. Okay, so in this case, it's gone out to Todd and to Janice. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over and sign as Todd and Janice. Here's Todd's Outlook account. You can see that Todd has received an email notification. Just take note that the vendor's name is in the subject here, and that's because I customized that when we went through that demo the first time. So I'm going to click on Review Document. This is the standard DocuSign signing experience that maybe you're familiar with already. This is my master services agreement. Again, very customized master services agreement. And I'm going to sign right here at the bottom. Great. Now I'm going to go over and sign as Janice Farrow, and you can see that Janice has received a similar notification. But before I sign, let me actually head back into ServiceNow because this envelope status, again, is a really important feature. It does allow your end users to track what's going on. You can see that your end user is going to know, okay, this has been signed by Todd, and we're just waiting on Janice. This saves a lot of phone calls because it means that if we want to push on somebody or nudge somebody, we know who to call. It's Janice in this case. Okay, let me close this and we're just going to switch back and we'll go ahead and sign as Janice. Okay, right here at the bottom, looks good. Oh, we need to initial also. Great, and go ahead and click finish. Okay, so now my master services agreement has gone out. It's been signed by both parties. That's just what I wanted to accomplish. And if I hit refresh now, what we'll see is, let me do that just one more time, that we now have this signed MSA attached right to my ServiceNow record. And I'll just scroll down here and you'll see both signatures. In fact, this is the DocuSign combined document, and which means that it joins on the DocuSign certificate of completion. If you're not familiar with the cert, it's what makes those signatures legally binding. So it's cool to kind of smash it together into one big PDF file. You can keep this separate if you prefer in your particular use case, and it's just a couple of mouse clicks in eSignify to do that. Okay, so that completes the first demonstration here, and I hope what you've seen is that with just a few mouse clicks, we were able to enable our end users to send out envelopes directly from ServiceNow through DocuSign for signature, and it brought that signed document right back. But let's do a little bit more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a series of changes to the map and show you how we can make things a little bit easier for the end user. So let me start by clicking this button again, the Send with DocuSign. And you'll remember that when we came into this envelope preparation screen, the first thing we did is dragged on that MSA that we wanted to send for signature. Well, the question is, can we automate that? And the answer is yes. So let me switch back as administrator to my map editor here. I'm going to go to Documents. I'm going to say I want to replace the MSA placeholder file. I want to do it by looking for a file that has the letters MSA in it. Now, don't worry if it turns out in a particular instance it doesn't have those letters. It'll just ask the user, let the user drag it over as we did. But this allows you to automate this. Okay, so let me switch back to my end user view here. I'm just going to hit back and hit the button again. And what you're going to see is instead of the user needing to drag that file in, it's automatically been dragged in for them, just because it has the MSA letters inside the name of the file. So it's super easy to do things like this and make it a little bit easier on your end users. Okay, I'll hit next. The second thing our end user had to do is drag in the recipients, the department head and vendor contact. And it wasn't very hard to do, right? From this field picker, they can see all of the different fields from ServiceNow that might have some data that they might want to add to the envelope. And so it wasn't very hard to do, but you know what? We can automate that too. So let me switch back to our administrator view. And I'm going to go to recipients, and we get the same thing happening here. These are all the fields from the underlying ServiceNow table, in this case, the company table. And so all I'm going to do is just expand out the department. I'm going to find the department head here and drag that on. And then if I scroll down to the bottom, I can see the vendor contact and vendor contact email here. And I'm just going to hit save. And when I do, I'm going to switch back now to my end user view and click that Send with DocuSign button again. And now you'll see that the file is chosen automatically, but also the recipients are filled in automatically. And they're filled in, just kind of dragged in for me, just making the job a little bit easier for me as an end user. Okay, so the last thing you might remember, well, it's not quite the last thing, there's a couple more things that the end user had to do, was that they overrode this to add in the vendor name. Well, can we automate that? The answer is yes. So let me switch back to my administrator view, and I'm going to go to the message tab here. I'm going to say I want to override the subject, and I'm just going to add the vendor name in right there. Okay, great. So I'll hit save. And now I'm going to switch back to my end user perspective here and hit the button again. And now you'll see all three things have happened. We've got the file chosen automatically. We've got the recipients filled out automatically. We've overridden the subject automatically. Now I want to do just one more thing to make that a little easier on the end user. But to do so, I'm going to have to click Create Envelope. You might remember when I showed the very first demo and we were in this embedded sending experience, the end user needed to actually fill in the vendor's name into one of the fields in the DocuSign envelope itself. So let me scroll down and show that to you. So right down here at the bottom, right here, I actually had typed in the vendor's name. Well, can we automate that? Well, the answer is yes. So let's show how that works. Switch over to my administrator view and go to data fields. What this does is reads all the data fields that it sees in the DocuSign template. You can see it's detected vendor name as one of the fields. And to push data into that field from ServiceNow, I'd merely drag a field over from ServiceNow like this, and that automatically pushes that data value from ServiceNow into DocuSign, into that vendor name field in this case. And it's just that easy to transfer data. And by the way, you can transfer it back from DocuSign to ServiceNow if that fits your use case as well, just by clicking that arrow right there. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And let me switch back to my end user perspective again. I'm just going to discard this envelope. And okay, we're going to hit our button again. Okay, so now the file is chosen, the recipients are chosen, the subject is modified. I'm going to create the envelope. It's going to take me into that DocuSign embedded sending view that we've been looking at. And the difference this time is that if I scroll down to the bottom where the signatures are, you can see that the vendor name is filled out for me. So that makes things really easy on the end user. So really, they don't need to do anything other than click send right now. I won't do that. I'm just going to go ahead and discard this one as well. But since they really don't have to do much right now, one might ask, can we eliminate those screens completely? Well, the answer is yes. It's really easy to do that as well. So I'm going to switch back to the map editor here. And I'm actually going to turn off that envelope preparation screen and the embedded sending. And I'm going to save it like so. Now I'll switch back to my end user perspective and I'll click the button. And now, since there's nothing to do, the envelope is just going to be created right now. The file is going to be uploaded. It's going to be sent out to Janice and Todd for their signatures. And all I'm going to get as an end user is a message back saying that my envelope was sent successfully. So that's the last of these interactive iterations of demos. I hope you see through this that it's very easy to get up and running with eSignify and being able to send out a master services agreement in this case. But if I want to customize things more, I can certainly do that. The map editor that we use to do this is very powerful. It allows you to control that flow of data between ServiceNow and DocuSign in very flexible ways. And I've shown you honestly just a bit of that as we've gone through the demos today. Okay, this is a good stopping point, so I'm going to stop and ask PJ, do you have some questions?
Todd, actually, we did have a few come in. So the first one was in this particular user's use case, their signers are on mobile devices. Is that supported?
It is. One of the cool things about eSignify is it's facilitating that communication between ServiceNow and DocuSign. But DocuSign, the signing experience is still done in DocuSign in the normal DocuSign way. And DocuSign is fully available on mobile devices and actually has a very friendly user experience on mobile devices. And eSignify doesn't get in the way of that at all. So really, we're just taking advantage of a feature that already exists in DocuSign.
Thank you, Todd. The next question is about naming of the signed document after the signature process is completed. One user has a requirement to name the downloaded document a specific thing. Can we support that?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. Let me switch back to the sort of end user perspective. So this is the signed document that got downloaded, and you'll see it was called signed with certificate. But you might want to call it signed MSA or something like that. And so let me quickly show you how you can do that. So I'm going to go to the Documents tab again. You know, we looked at this replace documents last time, and we made some changes here. There's another sub tab here called Download Signed Documents. And right there is where you have the ability to say what files you want to get downloaded into ServiceNow and what you want them to be named. And so in this case, I can just do this like that. And once I've saved that, from now on, when somebody uses this map, when it goes to download the file, it's going to name that file signed MSA. Go ahead, PJ.
Oh, sorry, just saying looks good. And the last question I have is someone asked about how do we support when the person that's submitting the request in ServiceNow is also someone that needs to sign the document.
Right. Okay. Like you would want that. Okay. Well, I'm going to assume that that means that when they're submitting it, they would want to sign it right away. So let me take it that way. So basically, what would happen in that case is when I click send with DocuSign, the first thing that should happen is the person sitting right here should go ahead and sign the document, and then it should go out to Janice. So we assume that Todd is actually logged in and clicking that button. Okay. Let me do that. It's a little bit trickier, but let me actually kind of show you what that would look like. So to do that, I need to enable what's called embedded signing. And so this is this is going to enable that person that's actually, clicking the button to actually sign it right away. You can see this gives me an error message right away, or a warning message, really. There's lots of these in this map editor. It's really trying to help you do things that work. And in this case, it's telling me that I must set that department head to embedded signing, which is easy to do right there. And now my map is in good shape. Okay, so a couple little things I had to do here. I had to turn that department head into embedded signing, and I had to turn the embedded signing on right here. Now you can have embedded signing for other signers, by the way. This is really for redirecting the end user, the sender, into that embedded signing experience immediately once they create the envelope. So that's a little complex. So if there's some follow-up questions, I'm happy to answer. But let me go ahead and save here. I won't run through a whole demo of this, but let me give you roughly what this looks like. So now with that done, when I click on Send with DocuSign here, what you're going to see is that just like that last demo, it's going to create we won't see the prep screen, it's going to create the envelope, it's going to upload the documents, it's going to set the recipients, but it's going to redirect me this time into the embedded signing experience, which is different. I'm not filling things out, I'm not looking at before it's been sent, but I now can immediately sign it as the department head, like so. And now it's available for Janice to sign in her email. I can just switch over real quickly and show you that. So you can see Janice has gotten that notification as well. So that's a way that you can have your initial end user, if you're in a use case where that you want them to sign right away. It is kind of a nice capability of DocuSign to do embedded signing right within that ServiceNow frame. PJ, we have anything else?
No, Todd, that was all the questions we had come in. That was really powerful, by the way. Thank you for showing that last piece there. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it. Let's see here.
So I appreciate everyone coming today. Hopefully you saw everything that you can do with eSignify and all the flexibility and ease that it is to configure things for your use case. We appreciate your time. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. My name and my email and phone number are here on the screen for you. We'd be happy to help, and we can also set up a custom demo and discussion for you and talk about your use case. So we look forward to getting started with you and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Bye.